Oprah Winfrey, once America's beloved talk show queen, is now a fugitive.
Oprah Winfrey has been spotted in a video from 1998 inviting Hollywood stars to one of Diddy's infamous parties. Now she appears in the video clip inviting guests to the star-studded bash, Diddy's 29th birthday, and she is joined by other well-known celebrities gushing over the star and his multi-million parties. Now this is not a good look for Oprah. Now Oprah has had many controversies throughout her life, but being involved with Diddy might be the final nail in the coffin when it comes to her career. She and Diddy have appeared together at numerous charity events, and Oprah has featured Diddy on her show, where they discuss not only his career but also his charitable efforts. Now this appearance helped elevate Diddy's message about social responsibility and community engagement, which is kinda ironic if you think back to it now. Now this isn't the first time Oprah has been linked to some horrible men in the entertainment industry that have ended up behind bars. I mean, it's starting to become a pattern. When she was asked about this, she said she tried to focus less on the crimes and the victims' stories and instead inside the bigger picture, which a lot of people had issues with. Her former friend Seal took to Instagram to call her out for her suspicious behavior. "You have been a part of the problem for decades, but suddenly they all think you're the solution," Seal said. "Oh, I forgot, that's right, you heard the rumors, but you had no idea he was actually doing those things to young starry-eyed actresses. My bad," he said. Yikes. Now it seems like Oprah definitely knew what was going on. What's strange is that Oprah has actually been a victim to the crimes Diddy has been accused of. You see, Oprah was born in Mississippi to a single teenage mother and grew up in extreme poverty. During her childhood, the cost of raising Oprah became too much for her mother to handle, so she was sent to live with her biological father. Since then, Oprah has come forward talking about how she had been mistreated and taken advantage of by her cousin, uncle, and a family friend. As a young teenager, and after suffering for years, she then ran away from home, and a year later she became pregnant. Now she gave birth to a son, but he was premature and passed away only a few weeks later. The Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls opened in Johannesburg in 2007. Now this was one of Oprah's passion projects. She founded it with $40 million of her own money, and she even hand-selected the 152 students who attended. Everything seemed perfect until it wasn't. Oprah seemed to handpick the students, but it turns out she didn't do a good enough job when it came to hiring the staff. Less than a year after the school had opened, 6 students came forward to accuse dorm matron Virginia Tani Mekagobo of mistreating them. Virginia pleaded not guilty, and her trial was ongoing. She was arrested in November 2007 and released on bail, and she faced 17 different charges. "It has shaken me to my core," Oprah said, of returning to South Africa with a team of private detectives to investigate the allegations and personally speak with the girls. "This has been one of the most devastating, if not the most devastating, experiences of my life," she said. Now in the end, Oprah fired all the matrons no matter what. Now following the first trial, Oprah was sued by the headmistress of the school for defamation. She alleged that Oprah defamed her by implying that she was covering up the mistreatment going on at the school. However, this case was later settled outside of court before the arranged trial, according to CNN. Now that's not all that happened there though. Speculation of numerous missing girls from the academy spread like wildfire across social media, and then in March of 2007, some parents complained because they were only allowed to visit their children once a month, and the girls were only allowed to use their cell phones on the weekends. One parent said, "It's a nightmare, we had only 2 hours to see my child, surely this isn't a prison or an institution." Another mother said her homesick daughter was very upset over the rules. "Michelle phones me in tears sometimes, and then I don't know what to say to her," she said. "The school is currently still running, but I hope the girls are being treated better than they were before." Now, Oprah has always been made fun of for her weight, which is honestly just a shame. "It was public sport to make fun of me for 25 years, I have been blamed and shamed, and I blamed and shamed myself," she said. Now one hurtful moment early in her career was when she landed on fashion critic Mr. Blackwell's list. "I was on the cover of some magazine and it said dumpy, frumpy, and downright lumpy," she said. "I didn't feel angry, I felt sad, I felt hurt, I swallowed the shame, I accepted that it was my fault," she said. Now one controversial moment regarding her weight loss was in 1988 when she unveiled unveiled her new slim figure by taking off an oversized coat and wheeling out a wagon holding 67 pounds of animal fat, the amount she had lost in less than 5 months. Now, the episode drew huge attention, earning the highest ratings in the show's history. However, years later, Oprah expressed regret about it, stating that it was simply an ego trip and admitting that she eventually regained all the weight back. Then there's the fact for the past 10 years, Oprah has worked with Weight Watchers, a diet program that was all the craze. Although it has been criticized by a lot of people as being harmful and promoting disordered eating. With some people not liking her promoting this, she then came out in 2023 saying that she was using an unnamed weight loss medication, and that's how she was able to lose a lot of weight. So it wasn't the Weight Watchers, which made a lot of people feel lied to. Then in 2024, she decided to step down and stop working with Weight Watchers altogether. Many people are saying that she's a sellout and that everything she's ever stood for was a lie. And hey, I can't blame people for being upset over this. It's very likely that she's taking Ozempic or something Ozempic adjacent, which is actually a medication for people who are diabetics. A lot of normal everyday people can't afford to take this medication, and they also don't want to take it from people who really need it, aka diabetics. Now, I understand why people are so upset about this, as Oprah claimed for years that a specific weight loss program was working for her. She's lost a bunch of weight, and then she reveals it was all due to medication. I'm glad she's happy with her body, but it now feels like she tricked a lot of people into believing something that will never come true, and it's just scummy. Then there was her whole Maui fund. In August 2023, a series of wildfires broke out in Hawaii, predominantly on the island of Maui. The wind-driven fires prompted evacuations and caused widespread damage, ending the lives of at least 102 people and leaving 2 people missing. Now, after this happened, Oprah and The Rock came together to create their own fund to help victims, called People's Fund of Maui. It was to distribute cash directly to people who were affected by the wildfires on the Hawaiian island. Now, the 2 celebrities contributed an initial payment of $10 million to the fund and invited the public to contribute their own donations for the rest of it. Now, after it was launched, people started questioning why the celebs were asking everyday people to donate instead of their celebrity friends, or even them just funding it themselves. I mean, Oprah's net worth at the time was $2.5 billion. Yes, billion with a B. She could have given away so much of her own money, but she decided to ask others for help. Now, people started calling them out on social media, and instead of taking this critique, Oprah hit back and made things worse. All the online conversations being slammed, lies, conspiracy theories really took the focus off of what was the most important thing, and that was the people of Maui, she said on a CBS Mornings appearance. I was on the ground talking to lots of people, trying to figure out how do I best help. Now, the 2 celebrities thought about how they have both given to charity their whole lives and felt like starting with $10 million worked because it was enough to kick things off before opening the Maui Wildfires Fund up to people who wanted to help but didn't know how to. I was so excited about it. Then I got up the next morning and saw all this vitriol, and I was like, whoa, what happened here, she said. But yeah, people were angry, which again, I honestly don't blame them for. One person on TikTok called their video tone deaf, while another said, we can't afford it, but you can. And Oprah has also been called out recently for how she's treated her guests on her show, and one that stands out a lot is Michael Jackson. According to Oprah's website, 90 million people watched her February 1993 live primetime interview with Michael Jackson. It was his first interview in 14 years, and he used the opportunity to dispel rumors and explain the changes in his lifestyle and appearance. Michael said that his noticeable and gradually lightening skin wasn't the result of cosmetic and elective skin bleaching, but the effect of a genetic skin disease called vitiligo. Now, he also opened up about the mistreatment he suffered as a child at the hands of his father and former manager Joe Jackson, but one thing Michael refused to discuss with Oprah was his love life. He claimed to be dating Brooke Shields, and Oprah flat out asked him some very personal questions. I'm a gentleman, that's something that's private, he said. You can call me old-fashioned if you want, but to me that's very personal. Oprah then sensationalized a legal proceeding that Michael was going through, and his brother Randy Jackson came out and claimed that Oprah was airing episodes related to his brother's trial in 2005 to make him look bad in the public eye. Randy said that he believed that Oprah wanted to see Michael in jail, and apparently when Michael saw this, it was the last straw. It was then made clear that she could not and would not be trusted again. But after Michael passed away, Oprah was given access to Michael's former home after being granted an interview with his mother Catherine and his 3 children. Many people in the Jackson family were aware of Michael's Michael's distrust in Oprah, and they didn't want this interview to happen, and they especially disapproved of Oprah being allowed to film inside his home and conduct his kid's first interview ever, as Michael didn't like them being in the public eye. A source said Janet Jackson is furious. She thinks Oprah took advantage of Michael's children for TV ratings. Janet told her Michael would be heartsick that Oprah used his kids as pawns, they said to the National Enquirer at the time. The two women had a blistering blow-up during a telephone call on the day that the show was taped. When Oprah made it clear that she was going ahead with the interview, Janet screamed, "Oprah, you make me sick." Now, other family members of Michael have spoken out about their disdain for Oprah, and it seemed like Oprah was just trying to be an opportunist and didn't really care about anyone's feelings.
You guys know the actor and comedian Steve Martin, right? Well, he used to do a routine that went like this. You too can be a millionaire. It's easy. First, get $1 million. If you put that routine between hardcovers, you'd have a book called The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. It's a self-help manifesto that basically says in a nutshell, what you think about, you bring about. The book's central premise, the law of attraction, is that positive thinking is the route to obtaining what you want in life, while negative thoughts will cause bad events to occur. I'll be honest with you, I read it years ago, and I won't share my opinions on it too much, but like anything, I did find some good and some bad. Well, there was a big controversy surrounding Oprah about it back in 2006 because it was the subject of 2 episodes on the Oprah Winfrey Show featuring a dream team of self-help gurus, all of whom contributed to the project. At the time, Oprah wasn't just endorsing it, she championed it, putting herself right in the middle of it all, and made it a prominent theme not only in her life, but it was all over her website, and she would reference it in many moments on her show and in interviews. Her involvement actually helped the book sell more than 2 million copies, which put it ahead of the new Harry Potter book at the time on the Amazon bestseller list. These 2 episodes, however, caused a lot of issues and controversy because Oprah's producers received a letter from one viewer named Kim Tingham, who had received a breast cancer diagnosis shortly after the show aired. They were alarmed by how far she had taken this advice and inspiration. Now, Tingham wrote that she had decided to forego chemotherapy, instead choosing to follow the book's advice literally. The public got wind of this and went into a frenzy, saying that Oprah had promoted cult-like behavior and unrealistic expectations that could be extremely dangerous to a lot of people's lives. Now, Oprah brought Tinkham back on the show to set her straight and urged her not to ignore all the advantages of medical science. Tinkham, who went on to follow another New Age regime laid out in a book called The pH Miracle, actually passed away in December of 2010. Ultimately, Oprah stood by her position that, the law of attraction can affect positive change. The problem is, though, is that there have been many incidents similar to Kim's. Like, a lot of consumers took this advice very seriously, and it had a lot of negative impact on their lives, so not so good. And because of all the backlash, Oprah has tried to keep this incident a secret for years and has since removed both episodes on her channel and website to try and keep the whole debacle under wraps. During an appearance on CBS Mornings, which is actually co-hosted by her best friend Gayle King, Winfrey addressed the backlash that she faced. When asked about the reaction, she said, "Well, this is a really great point about being happier in the midst of an onslaught of being terrorized and vilified online. I will say this. I came out of this experience with so much more compassion for young kids because I was thinking, what if I didn't really know who I am? What if I didn't have the assurance of Invictus, that I am the master of my own fate and the captain of my soul?" And continued on by saying, "So all of the online attacks, lies, conspiracy theories really took the focus off of what was the most important thing, and that was the people of Maui." Now, this particular clip was shared on X, formerly known as Twitter, and she faced even further criticism because she was then accused of playing the victim. One user wrote, "Oprah playing the victim while trying to sell her book? Gross. Now, despite all of the backlash, Oprah's popularity on social media soared. She gained more than like 110,000 followers between Instagram and TikTok alone. Another person actually wrote, "They're giving Oprah more airtime playing the victim than the real victims. Sad." Another person wrote, "Oprah playing the victim and saying she was terrorized online. Gee, I wonder how the people of Hawaii must feel." And one person hoped Oprah would read all of these comments and said, "Oprah, in case you read this, you are not the victim here. Talk to the people who lost everything. That is where our sympathies and prayers are." Now, a viral TikTok video that has been viewed millions of times made several allegations. They include that Winfrey hired a private firefighting team before the fire spread, hired private security to prevent people seeking shelter at her property, and had previously bought her land for pennies on the dollar. When asked about the viral TikTok, a spokesperson for Oprah said, all of the allegations in the videos were false. The original video has since been removed, of course, from the platform. However, reposts with several millions of views are still available. Now, remember the infamous Oprah episode in 2004 where she gifted literally everyone cars? Of course you do. Well, it wasn't so black and white as it seemed. What she didn't want everyone to know is just how difficult it actually was for the audience to be able to drive off in one. It was Oprah's Favorite Things episode. Now, she surprised her studio audience by giving each one of them a brand new Pontiac G6 sedan. The episode, which was part of Oprah's 19th season, featured her favorite products and gifts of the year. At the end of the show, Oprah announced she was giving away 276 cars, each valued at about $28,000. Now, the surprise gift was met with tears, cheers, and screams of excitement, of course. The episode actually became one of the most memorable moments in Oprah's show's history, and it was widely covered in the media. To this day, it has been literally one of the most parodied clips, and people just can't seem to get enough of it. Well, as exciting as everyone was to know they'd just been gifted a car, what followed after is that they were hit with a hard slap of reality when they were told that it wasn't quite totally free. They were then told if they wanted to drive it off the lot, they'd first have to pay about $7,000 in taxes, which, let's be honest, like who, especially around Christmas time, has a free $7,000 just sitting around ready to be dropped on a new car's taxes? If you're already planning on buying a new car, cool, totally get it. But being realistic, I would say more than half of her guests did not have that type of money just readily available. Now, on the plus side, the audience was allowed to choose if they wanted to just take the cash value of the car instead, which, hey, like not bad to go to a taping of the Oprah show and walk out about $28,000 richer, right?